Good evening. You are watching the news on DBS television. We begin by giving you the headlines. Cameroon celebrates International Customs Day with particular appreciation of customs stakeholders in the country. The government has announced the coming of a coronavirus vaccine into Cameroon, and Cameroonians are pouring out reactions when it concerns the news. In Central African Republic, the army takes down dozens of rebel fighters and regains the control of this territory affected by the rebels, and all of these amid a state of emergency. Details of these stories and more would be yours in this newscast, so don't go away. Good evening once more and welcome back to this edition of the newscast on DBS television. For presentation, I am Cynthia Ngwemo. Now let's get the news in full. Cameroon has celebrated the 2021 edition of Customs Day with stakeholders in the sector giving a pass mark when it comes to their professionalism and resilience. This at a time when economy is facing serious troubles from the coronavirus pandemic. Ate Bonaventure attended the official communication in Yaoundé and now examines the stakes and prospects of the customs sector in Cameroon. His report.
Bolstering recovery, renewal, and resilience for a sustainable supply chain are the watchwords under which this year's Customs Day is commemorated. Despite the persistent threats of the COVID-19 pandemic, the customs sector in Cameroon is poised to meet up with its commitments. This official ceremony served as an occasion to evaluate the achievements and challenges of the customs sector and set new perspectives. The state has embarked on promotion of local production through import substitution, reason why certain capital goods shall benefit from a reduced tariff of 5%, while imports intended for local pharmaceutical companies shall be toll-free. Outstanding customs officials have been awarded epaulets that promote them to higher ranks.
With the increase of coronavirus cases in Africa and in Cameroon in particular, efforts are being made to stem down the spread of the coronavirus. In the following report, our reporters sample the views of Cameroonians concerning the use of a coronavirus vaccine in Cameroon. Mange Venasius completes this story in the following report.
29,617 coronavirus cases with over 462 deaths recorded since the pandemic was reported in Cameroon in March 2020. Like in most African countries, Cameroon has witnessed an increase of about 1,607 new cases in just 1 week, following information made public by the Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malashi. With information from Western countries that are already going back to lockdowns due to the new variant of the pandemic, there are every reason for Cameroonians to regain awareness and respect barrier measures so as to curb the spread of the virus. An example which the head of state, Paul Biya, gave by cancelling New Year wishing ceremonies in the Unity Palace. Ministers of Health from CEMAC member states, at the end of a 4-day consultation by video conference, concluded that an effective vaccine will be made available for the population within a short period to fight the pandemic. Cameroonians are divided as concerns the use of a vaccine against the virus. To this man, Cameroon do not actually need a vaccine as such. With our local plant and herbs, he thinks that Cameroon have been able to fight the first wave of infection and can still do same. Others are indifferent, counting on their incompetency to decide how safe or unsafe the vaccine is. On the contrary, this other Cameroonian sees the presence of the vaccine as a good initiative. As to deciding the usefulness of the vaccine or not, the essential thing remains that we reinforce respect of barrier measures, for the virus do not move. Rather, we move with the virus.
The Kribi Port Authority has just welcomed a new factory for the assembling of civil engineering equipment inaugurated by Public Works Minister. The inauguration ceremony did not, however, go hitch-free as traditional rulers boycotted the event. And Vanessa Shuyong tells us more of this story in the following report.
The acquisition of civil engineering materials at the industrial zone of the Kribi Deep Sea Port has just been boosted and the difficulties reduced as the Port Authority of Kribi now officially owns a factory for the assembling of civil engineering equipment. The structure was inaugurated by Minister Emmanuel Ganun-Jumesi of the Ministry of Public Works, accompanied by the Kribi City Mayor and other local authorities. However, traditional rulers of the town of the Ocean Division did not seem to receive the occasion with the same joy as others as they walk out of the ceremony, accusing the city mayor Guy Emmanuel Sabikanda of undermining the authority and rightful place. They say as custodians of tradition in the land on which the structure is situated, they deserve a special place in the ceremony but only had to force their way in. They therefore use this as a protest on the downgrading of the authority of traditional rulers and seek to regain their one-time place of honor and respect in the Cameroonian society.
Management of local land is being known for being a source of problem in the country. In the following report, Mange Venasius takes a case study on Dume in the East region, where he says that wealth and influence have blinded the sense and the rightful place of justice. His report.
Land-related issues are old-age interpersonal problems that may not be peculiar to a particular locality. It is a case at hand in Dume subdivision, a locality in Upper Nyong division of the East region, where a widow, Ngos Ni Azola Njougwe Elise Jeanne, is gradually seeing the piece of family land being unjustly taken away from her. A land that as of present has been used to bury her 2 children, her sister-in-law, her husband, and other family members. As she explains, one Mr. Belinga Pierre, using his wealth and position, is doing all it takes to deprive the family from their heritage. With documented facts that date as far back as 1982, justifying the ownership of the property by her late husband, Ngos Lorang, the justice system appears to be blind for 2 years now to see reason and hand over once and for all the property to its rightful owner. Blinded perhaps by the large coverings of banknotes and influence, the widow is ready to go an extra mile to defend what is hers by right, even at the cost of her life.
Mon souhait est que, s'ils veulent prendre ce terrain, qu'ils viennent désumer. S'ils seront capables de désumer les 5 tombes qui sont là. S'ils ne désument pas, ils vont m'enterrer ici vivante avec mes orphelins.
The issue began with the former mayor for Dume subdivision, Awala Belaba, who fraudulently sold the property to one Belinga Pierre for 600,000 francs CFA. Mr. Belinga Pierre later gave out the piece of land to a foreigner for 10 million francs CFA. At the time, Cameroon is observing a week aimed at addressing local land management issues. From January 25th to 29th, 2021, cases like these should be addressed with utmost diligence and care.
And now we take you to the West region of Cameroon, where the management board of the Bafoussam Regional Hospital have adopted their 2021 budget. This comes after patients had deserted the hospital because of coronavirus in this part of the country, but they are gradually coming back. And Vanessa Shuyong in this report tells us that the budget will be allocated to infrastructural development. Her report.
The regional hospital in Bafoussam is gradually regaining its effervescence as patients who fled the health facility due to COVID-19 are returning. In recent past, the highest number of patients have fled after the health minister Manawuda Malashi announced a spike in cases confirmed in the region. Though the hospital had laid strategies to counteract the virus, the population has regained confidence.
We had laid strategies for COVID-19. It has taken its toll, but thank God in the past 2 months, the hospital has started recovering. People have started coming back to the hospital. Resources have started increasing. And in spite of this good picture, we are not lying on our laurels.
To this effect, the Management Committee held a meeting to adopt the 2021 budget for the first quarter of the year.
The budget of 625 billion francs for this first quarter of 2021 was adopted.
The committee, presided at by the Bafoussam City Mayor, also decided to lay emphasis on non-conventional specialties.
It's something like palliative care, mental health, and labor medicine. We decided to give an assent and to valorize these departments in the hospital.
While the community needs more and more treatment in these non-conventional medical domains, the budget allocated will be used for infrastructural amenities like rehabilitating the mortuary, acquisition of equipment to effectively cater for COVID-19 patients, and to reinforce the hospital's capacity in terms of specialized health personnel. With this, they hope to fully prepare for the second variant of the coronavirus pandemic being announced by the Public Health Minister.
Moving from health, now we talk education. Lecturers of some government universities in Cameroon have begun a 5-day strike. These disgruntled lecturers are asking the government through the Ministry of Higher Education to pay their research grants, which they say have long been due. The striking lecturers are mostly French speakers, as Boya and Bamenda University lecturers are yet to join the strike. Government has not yet issued any statement to that effect. We will be bringing you updates on the strike in our subsequent editions of the news. And now we take you out of Cameroon and we open the African page from Uganda. A day after the Ugandan court ordered an end to Bobi Wine, the opposition political figure's house arrest, soldiers have finally left the premises of his home after days of being on guard at his personal residence. Wine's lawyers, however, say security forces could still be seen in areas around his property outside the capital, Kampala. Bobi Wine has been unable to leave his home since January 14 election, in which he was declared runner-up to President Yoweri Museveni. Ugandan authorities said he could only leave his home under military escort for fear of him and his presence in public inciting riots. A court in Uganda ordered his release on Monday, claiming that his house arrest was unlawful. In the Central African Republic, the government says that army and allied forces have killed over 44 rebel fighters in an offensive they launched in Boyali village, about 90 kilometers from the capital, Bangui. The rebel fighters were participating in a push to encircle Bangui and overturn newly re-elected President Faustin Archange Touadera, according to the government. They also said the soldiers had captured the village of Boda with the help of Russian troops. This comes days after the Central African Republic government declared a state of emergency to fight the rebels who control 2/3 of the country. They are contesting the validity of President Faustin Archange Touadera's re-election in the December 27 election, which showed that President Touadera won 54% of the vote. Schools in Mali reopened yesterday, Monday, after government officially confirmed and authorized their opening and the resumption of classes, which had experienced several postponements due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Education authorities said that measures had been put in place to ensure that students and pupils learn in a safe and COVID-free environment. This includes a 20-minute health awareness lesson to be undertaken by all pupils throughout this week. Although the government has provided masks for the students, some teachers still deplore a lack of disinfectant products and soap for hand washing in schools. Many other questions the school's ability to allow for social distancing in the classrooms. So far, Mali has reported nearly 80,000 coronavirus cases and 233 deaths. And in world news, Italian Prime Minister Giuseppe Conte, who earlier announced his intention to resign, has dropped his resignation to the head of state today, Tuesday, with hopes of being given an opportunity to assemble a new coalition and rebuild his parliamentary majority. This comes amid a deepening political crisis worsened by the effects of the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more than 85,000 people in Italy, the second highest death toll in Europe after Britain. Italy fell into a fresh crisis last week when Conte faced two confidence votes to which he survived, but however lost his governing majority in the Senate as Matteo Renzi withdrew his Viva Italia party from the ruling coalition. Giuseppe Conte's resignation was accepted by the president, who will begin consultations with leaders of the country's political parties on Wednesday. That story from Italy is what brings us to the end of this edition of the newscast on DBS Television. Thank you for your keen attention, and we do invite you to join us again tomorrow, same time on DBS Television for another edition. For now, goodbye from us.